Yeah, Deflock, Lynn Haven.
Yeah, so
So
that I didn't really plan on doing any of this. Um, I I just kind of walked into it, and just maybe what I can do first is just set the table a little bit about where I'm coming from. My Facebook page, Deflock Lynn Haven, is only a persuasive tool that I'm using. There are no comments available on that. My main point is to try to educate and to persuade the city of Lynn Haven commissioners to deflock Lynn. That's the point of that. And there is a lot of information out there. And the reason that this is important to me is it all comes down to power and authority. This is my problem with government, the government power and authority that I see being I'll get on my little American history soapbox for a second, if that's all right. Our founding fathers knew that, and they were experiencing that it was the nature and it was the disposition of almost all men, once they get a little bit of authority that they suppose, they will immediately begin to misuse that authority. So our founding fathers, they saw this in the British Empire, right? There were two big things that they had a problem with. They had a problem with many things, but the two that I feel are most important in this flock situation are is representation. Representation. The British were doing things with breaking the law because the colonies had representation, but the British would do things without colonial representation. So that really pissed them off. And then the other thing is there was a perception of tyranny from King George III, right? So they were just ad hoc making decisions for people who were 3,000 miles away. So those are two things that I have big problems. And the founders didn't only identify this, but they did something about it. So they didn't reform a British sort of government. They created their own government to mitigate all of this power and authority that can be found in the government. Now they did that by studying the classics, the Greeks, some of the French forms of government. Thomas Paine's Common Sense was a big one. And you'll never believe this, but our founding fathers believed that the purpose of government is to bring the people happiness. So when you think about it, that rights come from not man, rights come from God, that there shouldn't be a government intermediate in there. So what they did is they took Judeo-Christian values, and they, along with, these guys were amazing. Our founding fathers were probably an average age, late 30s to early 40s, except for Ben Franklin. He was the grandpa, like in his 70s. So to start getting down off of the soapbox, I'll just close that portion by saying government overreach pissed off our founding fathers, and tyrannical governments pissed off our founding fathers, and they created a nation to stop that, to do their best to stop that. That, believe it or not, that battle is happening in Lynn Haven, and I'm here to show that to the commissioners, and also to show that and to try to persuade people to that effect, because I don't think people are thinking about this. And I'll show you how there has been misuse of power. So remember that it's the nature and disposition of almost all men, once they get a little bit of authority, so they suppose, that they immediately begin to misuse that authority. That means me, that means you, that means anybody, any man who gets a little bit of authority that they think that they have.
Yeah.
So that's a big picture. I'll get off my soapbox, and I'm going to tie that into what's happening.
Yeah. So the Flock system that is used is a third party.
Yeah. So Flock is a private party that the city of Lynn Haven has bought 5 cameras. And you'll hear them say that, oh, it's just a license plate reader. As you go by, as you pass it, it snaps a picture of your license plate, and then you don't think much of it. You kind of think, oh, well, I don't have anything to hide. It's like, so what? It takes a snapshot of my photo. But then if you really think about it, the last report that I saw, it said, okay, so with Flock, there are 80,000 Flock cameras throughout the United States. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what's happening in Lynn Haven and in Bay County. We learned from Deputy Chief Ainfinger that there are hundreds of Flock cameras all throughout Bay County. Every time you pass this camera, it takes a picture, whether you have a warrant or not. If you're totally innocent, you have no record, it's still taking a picture of you, of your vehicle. They say the license plate. That's not true. You can look at pictures. It takes a picture of the whole back of your car and the side of your vehicle. So I do need to say
what are the good intentions behind it?
Yeah, I was going to say that. And I wanted to let everybody know that I am not fighting the police on this. I am not anti Tommy Ford. I am not anti Deputy Chief Ainfinger. I am not against whoever the new chief is. I respect law enforcement. I really do. They have a hard job. I pray every night that they come home. I don't pray every night, but I do hope that every single one of them come home. I hope that they get the bad guys. I hope that they win. I hope that crime diminishes. I'm at odds with them, though, on how this has been rolled out, and I'm at odds with them about what the system does.
Well, okay. We can start there.
But the good that they do.
Well, and so that's the thing, right? Like, so Bayrock was one of those things when I was running for county commission. I was against Bayrock. I still am. And we all, in the last episode, Alex and I kind of talked about this a little bit. It was like, all roads to hell lead with good intentions, right? So we always like a lot of law enforcement when they stand up for Bayrock, it's like, oh, a little girl out on her bicycle gets hit by a drunk driver, and the driver, it's a hit and run, and he runs down, and we were able to follow him through all these intersections, through the camera systems to be able to find where he's at. And it's like, yeah, that's great. Like, that's a good thing. But that's how they fight it, and they combat it with these positive things from it. But nobody really looks at the negative aspects of it. Except for guys like us that are like, well, I don't like the fact that I'm being spied on. It's against the Fourth Amendment. I don't agree with the fact that you can just go into a system. And then, one of the commissioners from Lynn Haven that I was talking to about it was like, oh, well, you have to be certified and have to hold a certain, not a clearance, but it's some sort of clearance but then after the video that I sent you, it was like, no, you can go in and access it and other people can look at it.
Yeah.
The video, and I'll play a clip of that video now.
Using a commercial search engine, I very easily found the administration interfaces for dozens of Flock safety cameras. I shared this information with 404 Media, and with John Gaines' help, that number quickly grew to nearly 70. None of the data or video footage was encrypted. There was no username or password required. These were all completely public-facing for the world to see, and some of them still are. You don't have to be an expert to find and gain access to this. You don't even have to type anything in to see every single person, vehicle, and activity that took place in these locations in the last 31 days. Whether you wanted to watch this footage live in real time or look at footage from a month ago, you could just point and click your way to it like you were watching Netflix. You could even open up the live streams in VLC or cast it to a television. Making any modification to the cameras is illegal, so I didn't do this, but I had the ability to delete any of the video footage or evidence by simply pressing a button. I could see the paths where all of the evidence files were located on the file system, and I could see their hashes and signatures. Some of the devices we saw were the familiar-looking Falcon cameras that you see all over the country, but the majority of these were Flock's new Condor cameras, which are designed to detect and track people. They're PTZ cameras, meaning pan, tilt, zoom, and they quite literally use AI to zoom in and follow you around whether you're a person of interest or not. In just the time that it took to count and verify these vulnerabilities, I saw a family in North Carolina load their infant and a bunch of merchandise in a Lowe's parking lot. And I suppose one could cross-reference their license plate with the Park Mobile data breach and find out exactly where the garage is that will store these new fancy tools. I watched a man leave his house in the morning in New York. I watched a woman jogging alone on a forest trail in Georgia. This trail had multiple cameras, and I could watch a man rollerblade and then take a break to watch rollerblading videos on his phone. How? Because the camera's AI automatically zoomed in on it. Just like it zoomed in on a couple arguing at a street market in Atlanta. So what? They're still anonymous, right? No, they're not. Within 2 minutes of open source intelligence using a commercial facial recognition engine, I found out that one of them just finished medical school and the other is dealing with chronic irritable bowel syndrome. The couple also just had a baby last year and they have a pretty concerning debt to income ratio. I also know that they drove over 45 minutes from their address in the suburbs to attend church in Atlanta that morning, and then they checked out this market and bought a sweater. I watched a law enforcement officer and ambulance escort a man having a mental health crisis in Iowa. I know this because the Cedar Rapids Police Department maintains a public database of every single emergency call in the city, as well as daily arrest reports with individuals' names, addresses, ages, and genders. Listen, I know that I'm being creepy right now. Just saying these words out loud nauseates me. But I'm trying to show you just a fraction of the information that anyone in the world with access to a commercial search engine has had regarding anyone who attended this market or walked on this trail in the last 31 days. And it gets worse. Here's an exposed flock safety camera permanently pointed at a playground near the Bay Area in California, openly and publicly broadcasting both live and archived video footage of young children playing unattended. Again, just saying this stuff out loud feels so incredibly wrong.
Dude is straight up saying that he can follow somebody and see what they, all the way from their run to them going home, what car they drove when they left home, going to a store, and knowing exactly what they bought, and then all this. And this is just a regular citizen, because it's just like people all the time think that there's like a way of getting away from hacking. There are people that use Signal as like one of these big apps, right?
Yeah.
Signal's compromised. I personally know guys that can hack into that and they can look at any type of message that's ever been sent by somebody.
Yeah.
Proton Mail. We've all said, oh, that's like unhackable because everybody uses it from the government. And like these systems are hacked every single day.
Right.
Emails. We can literally see emails. You can literally see text messages or messages sent through these apps. When you have like a system like this, though, when you have like a camera system, right? Anybody can access it and you can watch somebody. That's the reason why it's like, we got guys that are like worried about drones.
Yeah.
And it's like that's nobody's gonna do it that way if they want to spy on you. If they want to spy on you, this is how they're going to do it. They're going to get on there and they're going to be able to follow you all the way down and they never have to break a sweat or have to pay a dime.
That's right.
It's free.
That's right.
So,
yeah. So, that there have been a lot of cases where people have been able to hack into these cameras. Now, I think I need to be a little more clear is what the government, I'm against the government power. The Fourth Amendment, people say it's about privacy. The Fourth Amendment is partially about privacy, but it's mostly against mitigating government power.
Yeah.
So what this means is with 5 flock cameras, you could say, I don't do anything wrong. Who cares? Um, these cameras are all integrated. So it's all integrated into, you know, 100. Well, let's just say this. Let's just say, because I believe it's about 100 government-owned cameras throughout the city of, or throughout Bay County.
Mm.
We have about 100 of them. You can't go probably to a major intersection. I bet you can't go 2 or 3 miles on main roads without, maybe it's more, 5 miles, without you getting tagged, right? So I would guess hundreds of thousands of hits of people's license plate and their car. I'm just going to say it's their car. It's not the license plate. Back of the car and then the profile. We don't need that. If they want to, I want to be clear. I want all the cameras taken down. That's my goal.
Mm.
But you know, why do you have to take pictures of every single time someone passes a flock camera?
Well,
Right.
and it's not, and I, so the government, this is something that Alex and I were talking about the other night. You're never going to know what the true, and I learned this through the military. What citizens know about different ways of how things work is completely different than what they're told. So, you're never going to be told what the actual capabilities are of a system that's used for surveillance. You will never know. You can try. You can play detective, and you can go around. You could talk to people, and you could try to figure it out. You could talk, but there's going to be some clearance that's there from somebody that is withholding information, especially on systems like this. Um, I'll give you an example. I know of a system specifically that uses facial recognition, AI technology, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The Flock system might have that capability, might not. If with AI, man, now you can generate photos, videos of people being places that they were never at times that they had never been there. It happens all the time. We see this, dude, more times than none. And to be able to have a system like this, that's, again, it's surveillance that is accessible through the right pathways.
Yeah.
And so now you can have not just law enforcement that uses this against individuals, but also you're now giving the power for citizens to be against citizens to utilize this.
Mm.
And that's more, when it comes to the government and it comes to them, because this is what I consider spying on the American people.
Yeah, I do as well. Surveillance.
When you're surveilling and all that. But here's the deal. I'm more worried about what the public can do with things like this than I am what the government can do.
And I'm the opposite.
Yeah, you're more worried about what the government could do with it. Yeah.
See, the facial recognition that you're talking about, it's already out there. I don't think the government uses it, but I don't know. And there are technologies. FDLE was busted this using equipment where they can your home and they can see where you are. And there was I don't know if it was the ACLU or what organization did a public records request. And there's an email. I have it on Deflock Lynn Haven. That one of the officers is telling his people how to word this so that the courts don't find out using it.
No.
So they have this.
You can give me a link for that so I can put that up?
Yeah.
Well, so here's what's really, really funny about that. That technology is old.
Yeah, that's right.
That technology is about 30 years old, 30 to 40 years old.
I don't know if the cops have been using it that long, but maybe.
I don't know if law enforcement has, but military's been using that stuff for a very long time. Low level, it exists. High level, it's used. You know,
it is.
So, But yeah, and that's the thing. Whatever you see the military using now, and dude, that was something I was just talking about with my father-in-law, right? And not trying to get completely off topic, but this is a perfect example. Whatever you see the military using today, 20 years from now, 15, 20 years from now, law enforcement's going to be using it.
Yeah, that's right. They're
You know,
militarizing law.
yeah, when you militarize law enforcement, you're
And
going
part of
down.
its necessity,
It's
sadly, because it's violent out there.
it's good to have the knowledge and it's good to have the tools, but you know, it's kind of like, back when there's a guy that ran against Tommy this past time, Tommy Ford, for like sheriff, and he talked about an MRAP. I guess the sheriff, I've never seen it, but I guess the sheriff's department has an MRAP, and MRAPs are made for mine, like it's made to be able to take like IED blasts and things like that. When was the last time you heard about an IED blast in Bay County? Well, I mean, the last time I heard about like an IED, anything close to an IED in the United States was the Boston Marathon. Now, it's
Mhm.
good to have these things. It's good to be prepared, but why are you
Yeah.
going to spend that kind of money on something like that? And then you have other things, right? Like we just came from, my father-in-law, my family, they live up in Middle Tennessee area. So we were down in Lynchburg near the Jack Daniels distillery, and the sheriff's department's right there. And we passed by the sheriff's department. They got two Humvees sitting out there in front of the sheriff's department. Their sheriff's department's like six deputies. Why in the hell do you have two Humvees? And who are you going to war with? I mean, you got armored doors, and
Right.
on your Humvees, like who are you planning on going to war with? It's like,
Yeah.
well, and I was like, well, if you know the type of people that live around that area, they probably do have green tip ammo. And, so you're having to worry
Yeah.
about the armor piercing rounds and stuff like that. But again, why are you, law enforcement's supposed to be there to help.
Yeah.
If law enforcement, and this is one of the major problems that I have with a lot of law enforcement, even guys that I'm friends with and I've met over the years, even being back from the military. I like to look at law enforcement, sheriff's department, stuff like that as like the Andy Griffith show, man. Like Andy Griffith, and then you had freaking Barney,
Yeah.
and when they show up, they're there to help. They're nice. They're you should all the time as a law enforcement officer, when you are out in public, you should have the demeanor to where a child is gonna be able to come up to you and say, "Hey, something bad is going on over there." But the problem is they have fucked their reputation so much over the years now, to where children have to go, "Well, my dad says to stay away from the police because he says anytime you talk to police, you go to jail." In this area, it's just like I have a friend that just went through a domestic issue not too long ago. It's like, oh, somebody called the cops. They just wanted us to get split up, but nobody to go to jail. And one of the first things that came out of my mouth, and it was the most sad thing ever, was like, dude, if you call the cops for a domestic issue, someone's going to jail, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to happen. Don't call the cops, because that's what's going to happen.
Mm.
But then I start catching myself when I say things like that, and I'm like, oh, shoot. No, you didn't. It shouldn't be that way.
Right.
It should be police show up and like, hey, guys, split this up, whatever. But this is also coming back from the time, and I'm sure you're a little older than me. Yeah. So, like, you remember there was a time where two men have a disagreement, they'll go wrestle it out, or
Yeah.
right there in a driveway. Go back home, sleep it off. The next week they're having a beer in the driveway and they're getting along.
Yeah.
And they handle things amongst themselves. When you rely on law enforcement to fix your problems, you are the only thing you're going to find is division. Period.
Yeah. I can see that. Now I don't know anyone in law enforcement personally, but I've known people. I don't know anybody now, and they get really, understandably so, get really jaded.
Mm.
They start to view the common man as all of the bad guys that they deal with.
Mhm.
So they're in this world of all these mistakes that people made, and I couldn't do it. I don't know if you should 5 years see the world a lot different than people enforcement. First of the war. So, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not trying to tell people what to do. That's just kind of my opinion. I also, when people say that, well, if you haven't done anything wrong, what do you have? Well, they're watching everything. They're not only watching your license plate reader, but with Bayrock, they're watching video. So the police departments downplay it like, oh, it's just taking pictures of your license.
Yeah, but the problem is that I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
the problem with it is that society has made it now to where we've given law enforcement so much power that you will turn law-abiding citizens into criminals like that.
Yeah. And
So
with
when you say I
this-
don't have anything to hide, no. When somebody says that to me, I go, you've never met a dick cop.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
There are,
I mean,
go
there's-
on to Deflock, you'll see a lady in Aurora, Colorado, who is arrested for being a porch pirate. And she drove through there 20 times, and the cop is on a power trip. He's like, 100% you did this. We have your
Yep.
picture. We have your flock information. And he would not even look at her. I can't remember. There's the name of that truck, a Ravian. Is it Ravian? It's like it's a, kind of like a Tesla truck, but it's a different
Oh.
vehicle. It has cameras all the way around it, like a Tesla. And she's like, hey,
Oh.
let's look at the camera and you'll see. She had to prove herself innocent. She was guilty before, innocent before proven guilty. She had the opposite.
Yeah.
She should have sued them for so much, but she's like, no. The cop is on such a power trip. Now, I said the quote that I gave, or what I said about the nature of men to just misuse power.
Mm.
The police officer didn't even come to her and apologize. The reason that they do these things is to gratify their own vain ambitions and their pride.
Yeah.
That's why they do this. I'm not going to say all of them, but it's overreach. Like, technology has just run so fast and we're so far behind. And yes, we've given them power, but they've also just taken the power without even disclosing it. And that's what I have a big problem with. Now, let's talk about, I want people to think about Flock like they did COVID. Nobody wanted the government telling them what to do, to wear a mask, to get the shot. Nobody wanted that. The government is intruding on our space and telling us what to do. When I was, during COVID, I worked at the airport for one day, and it was an awesome job. I worked 1 day a week. I threw bags in from the conveyor belt into the plane. I could travel anywhere I wanted on standby. Went all over the place. What I learned staying home was when people came to Florida and they saw that we weren't wearing masks, they were like, hey, you guys are working here and you don't have to wear a mask. No. And they're like, oh my gosh, they take the mask off and they feel free. People were flocking to Florida from these blue states because it was free. And the founders called that liberty. You have liberty because you don't have a government breathing down your neck. The definition of a tyrant is one person making the rules regardless of arbitrarily.
Well, COVID was one of those.
Arbitrarily.
COVID was one of those perfect examples of where you give the government an inch and they'll just keep taking a mile. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you remember this, but I know you have to. Back during COVID, it was one thing after another that would roll out. And it was like, I believe that I have a lot of friends in the medical industry that are going to freaking sit there and they're going to have something to say. You can go fuck yourself. But the thing about it is that I believe COVID was a big psyop. I'm putting on my tinfoil hat now. I don't do the tinfoil hat thing with local politics because we've got a microscope so far up local dudes that it's pretty simple to see if somebody's, yeah. On the national side, though, I believe that COVID was a big psyop. I believe that that was, the people of the United States being similar to what we're dealing with now with your flock thing. I think that
Yeah, there's a
we're being
big
studied.
correlation.
We're being studied. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with an outbreak? Who are you gonna trust? Are you gonna trust the government? Are you gonna trust the media over fact? Right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna um go off of what you see, or are you gonna go off of what you hear?
Yeah.
People, that's how people operate, right? And you can find the weak individuals, and I'll call them weak, and I don't care, because if you base, and this goes into flock, what you hear versus what you see. I heard that there was a case where this was a good thing. Now, there's multiple cases where flock's a good thing, Bayrock's a good thing. I heard. But what have you seen? Who have you talked to that's been part of these things and has had to go through an investigation and has dealt with it? There's a difference there. I do plan on, and I know that there are several sheriff's deputies that do watch my show, and I appreciate the messages here and there. But I do challenge them to put a representative from Bayrock here. I mean, I want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, that'd be
Mainly because I want to.
fantastic.
And listen, I am not on its side. So I mean, I'm not saying. And it's like, well, we don't have to convince you. You're just a podcaster. No, I'm a citizen of Bay County.
Yeah.
I pay my taxes, and guess what? I want to know what the hell it does. I want to know.
And you're not the only one. Everybody should be as pissed off about this as they were about COVID. This is bigger than COVID, or it's getting bigger. This is spreading out everywhere.
Yeah.
And nobody has talked up about it. I think that myself and
how much was the
and Laura were the only ones who said anything in that.
So Flock is tied in with Bayrock.
Flock is tied in with Bayrock.
Is tied in with Bayrock. How much should we say has been spent?
The city of Lynn Haven spends. I made a mistake. I made my very first video that I made on this was December 6th, and I posted it. Lynn Haven neighbors, and all I did is I took video of each of the cameras. I found out where they were, and took video of them, and then I put like the X-Files music on there, and then I took some words. So it's $12,500 a year for the city of Lynn Haven.
In June of 2025, the city of Panel City Beach Council approved.
Oh yeah,
$85,992.
Yep. Okay, so this one, you got to listen to this on my website, Facebook on Deflock. I have the video of that. Do you know why they say they need a 19 by 6 $86,000 TV? You know what the guy says? There's a guy from the police office, not sheriff's office, but from PCB police office. He says they need that so that the way that it's set up now, the officers, the analysts is who they are. They have to swivel in their chairs, and the monitors are 7 or 8 years old. So now they're going to have a huge monitor up there for $86,000, and nobody says anything.
$112,000 to purchase.
The initial 2021 was $81,000. And that was to get established. And I remember that.
So the Bay County Tourist Development Council.
Oh, and
pending.
It was a grant, JAG. They called it a JAG grant or something like that.
Flock cameras, $112,000 to
So you
purchase.
think, oh yeah, well, with the taxpayer didn't even have to pay for it. That feels good. And I really, the part of this I hate is the part you were talking about was and I'll get to it, was the part about what's good about it. Man, it does catch a lot of people. Catches a lot of bad people, but it's the Wild West right now.
Am I looking at this right? It says
What are you
the
looking
City
at?
of Panama City contract. City of Panama City indicates flock pricing of
157,000.
157,000 per
It was
year.
run through on a consent agenda. It was number 9B of like 12 consent agendas. Not a word about what it was.
So right now it's potentially at
Yeah,
787,000.
not a word about what Flock is.
Yeah.
Not a word about how it's tied into Bayrock. Not any kind of explanation. No public commentary. See, I'm really upset with the way this is rolled out, and I'm really upset with everyone, including myself, who hasn't caught on to this, because
This is just
it's out there.
This is just the City of Panama City.
Yeah, City of Panama
And
City.
they're
Yep.
saying that it's potentially at 787,000.
That's a 5-year contract, I believe, is how they run that.
Yeah.
So you take the 157.5
So it's
times
$1 million.
5.
So we're going to spend close to $1 million on what I consider spying on the American people. They're going to and surveillance.
It's
And
surveillance.
they're going to say it's what is that? Public safety.
Okay,
falls
that's
under public safety.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
Isn't that always what we say? It's it's a safety measure. It's not a, but it's like, well, here's the thing. This is where, public safety, spending money for some type of system to come through and skim our bays to make sure that nobody gets sick or something. This is just making this up, right? Like something like that. That's a public safety issue. I don't think you can say it's a public safety issue if you're using it to, to hunt down people for crimes.
Yeah.
And so do we know that, like, at all? Has
What?
it been used? Actions? You're saying that some lady got pulled over because they were saying that she committed a crime and she had cameras all around her vehicle.
Yes.
So if it's being used for that, does that still fall under public safety?
I don't know, but I was thinking there. It's hard to fight a technology when your understanding of it is, and I'm talking about people who support this, who need to know more. When a police officer comes up and says a little girl's kidnapped, and because of Bayrock, we were able to follow that vehicle and we're able to save the little girl before she disappeared. How do you fight that? Because not a lot of people think about.
Well, this says Bayrock is real time.
Real-time operation center is what it stands for.
Real time crime center.
Yeah.
And
I call it rights occasionally considered. Bayrock is rights occasionally considered, and I don't even know if occasionally is fair for what they do, because we found out in the last city commission meeting in Lynn Haven, and I'm trying to get public records. They're getting rejected. I've had 2 or 3 public records requests rejected, and my last one is they want $600 for basic information about Flock. So I broke it up into 5 or 6 different emails. What they're doing is they have access to all this information, and they don't run internal audits. So there was a case out of Kansas where a chief of police was tracking an ex-lover and her boyfriend. 167 times he tracked these 2 people. He would just show up where they were, right? And they had an internal audit and they caught this guy. If we've had Flock and Fusus or Tyler, which is the system before that, if we've had that since 2001, at least since 2003, we have had 4 years of unaudited data that police could be going in there and looking at for whatever they want, and we would never know because it drops off after 30 days.
Yeah,
and there's no public oversight. Zero.
You could have an investigation on you right now for a crime that you never committed.
Yeah.
You could. And they could be using that data to do it. Now, I also like to look at what are the chances of that happening. But even if there's 1 out of 100, even if there's 1 out of 1,000,000, it's still, I don't know, man. It starts to get really.
Rather see 100 You'd rather see 100 bad guys go free than one person who is innocent go to.
Yeah.
You can't just.
Yeah. So these public records requests that you put in, you put one in for.
Okay.
Do you want to say, or do you?
Yeah. I can say. I want a copy of the audit.
Which one?
I don't know. I want them to say.
I don't know which one.
No.
I want them all.
I want the flock audit. I want to know. I don't think there's a flock audit, and I requested to have the last City of Lynn Haven flock audit. I think it's going to come back. They don't have one, and I want that to happen.
Well,
Actually,
when you're saying an audit, you mean like an audit on money or an audit on
information? You know how in corporate America everything is micromanaged to the 10th degree, right? I want that. I want to know what they're searching. I want to know the keywords that they're putting in, because they don't have to put in a license plate number. They can put in keywords like black Jeep. Like, I got a black Jeep. You put in a black Jeep, like the best black looking Jeep in Bay County. If they do a keyword search, that's going to come up with my Jeep, and they're going to look, and they can trail. They can see everywhere I've been, not just in Lynn Haven, but in all of Bay County. They're not going to get much information because I'm home a lot. What are we looking at here?
I'm looking at the qualifications to work for Bayrock. Like if you were going to be like an investigator.
Oh yeah, like the analysts.
Yeah, so it says here, I got to get a projector in here. This thing is small. Ability to integrate data. Well, it says
and numbers quickly.
Preferred. Well, here's what's funny about this. It doesn't really have any like. Oh well, yeah, it does right here. Key duties: monitor license plate readers and cameras, manage computer and dispatch CAD info, run background checks and support field units.
What Flock has done is taken a lot of the analysts and the detectives' work in what they cover, in what Flock covers, taken and pawned it off to another vendor. And there's a lot of the brain work in these cases is AI. I said in the meeting it was generative AI. I was wrong. Generative AI, if I understand now, is like it will actually create a picture and a video.
I'm really concerned about this because, and I know, so coming from a military background, you have clearances for different things, right? So, you have.
So you probably know more than I do.
So, yeah, you have.
I'm just a finance guy.
TSSCI with Poly. I mean, you have all kinds of different things, but what I'm looking at here is like high school diploma or GED, experience in public safety, communications, 1 year, certificate, public safety telecommunication.
So what the analyst is doing,
background checks and driver's license, background check and driver's license, and then you have to be a law enforcement officer licensed in the state of Florida. But my problem with this is, and I'm not saying, first of all, I think degrees are stupid. That's just me. I
worked hard for mine. For both, I worked really hard. I know what you're saying.
It's like
that was
go
20 years ago.
Liberal college, and you come out brainwashed, and then you have like dumb.
Right. I didn't go to traditional college.
Yeah, but it's not even really what I'm looking at. I mean, for something like this, and again, this is another reason why I'd like to have a representative on from Bayrock. Because it's like,
I would love to be here.
I would like to. What I'm looking for is like 10 years experience and whatever.
You don't need it.
Part of this type of unit for a certain amount of time.
You're just watching monitors.
That's one of the things we were talking about law enforcement earlier. Was I talked to a guy when I first got out of the military, and so I was taking contracts when I first got out. And I was actually within about 6 months of getting out of the military, I had taken a PMC position over in, and so, but what's funny about it is when I came back home, like I was talking to this law enforcement guy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm part of the SWAT team." I was like, "Oh, you're part of the SWAT team. That's cool, man." Blah blah blah. I started talking to him. I was like, "What do guys that are on the SWAT team do?" Dude, this blew my mind. He's like, oh, well, I mean, anything that a normal cop does. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, cause I got one of my really close friends. He's he's part of SWAT in Las Vegas.
Mm.
And like when he goes to work every day, it's training. Like he's part of the SWAT team. They utilize those guys a lot there.
Yeah.
And so that's what I imagined like SWAT being here. And he's like, no, like I'm a patrol cop, and then I have all my equipment in the back of the car if I need to go to and I was like,
So it's like a specialty, something on the side.
whoa,
rather
whoa.
than
I was
what
like,
he
whoa. Is it like what? Hold on. And I just started asking him, like, what are your start talking about training, CQB, tactical experience, stuff like that. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that I'm just going to play a hypothetical. You're out patrolling and you're doing routine traffic stops, domestic violence cases, whatever. And you can get a call to like a meth lab across town where there's going to be like a raid or something like that. You go in, you help out with a raid, and then you just take off kit and then you jump back into uniform and you go back out there and you patrol the streets. And he's like, yeah.
Oh.
And he's like, and I was like,
parking tickets after he just sniped somebody.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, hold on. This is not okay.
Yeah, that's
guys
unusual.
guys that had jobs like me, especially like you're talking about. Normally, it's about a 6 to 8 month workup to go do a deployment. Because again, combat MOS guy. So, rooms, clearing rooms, that type of advanced
Fun
training.
stuff.
Yeah, the cool stuff that you see in movies, right? And then when you come back home, you go through a quarantine period, and you do that before you even go see your wife and kids and things like that, especially if you're in a combat zone. So to hear, and they do that because they want to make sure that you're mentally stable to be able to handle what just happened.
Yeah.
And you're saying a cop who has barely 6 months of training, who, like, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, like, 6 months of training with a firearm and room clearing and stuff like that, you have you have zero training. Like, it's years. And so, now you're going to go do that, and then you're going to jump back into a patrol vehicle, and then you're going to go stop Granny for running a stop sign.
Yeah,
like,
that's interesting.
And then we want to sit there and we want to talk about guys who will get on power trips and things like that. This is what happens, and this is the reason why you have those types of issues. It's just something as simple as that.
Well, I mean, that's a good way to compare it as a, as far as what qualities does it really take to do that position. So.
Yeah, it's you're not going to be. In my opinion, you can't wear both hats. The guys that are going and performing raids on meth labs, children trafficking, or child trafficking, those guys, you're going to have to separate them from the streets. Like, they're not going to be able to get into a patrol vehicle and go patrol around to be a beat cop. Like, you just can't do that.
Yeah, that's
because they're the public,
too big of a disparity of jobs there.
Yeah, but they're doing it. That's what's bad. Like, I mean, we're talking about, this is somebody that I know of that is that works on law enforcement here, and I'm like, and I told him, I said I was worried for him because that's not right to do to him, especially as leadership.
Yeah, that's
to put you in some type of situation like that where you could have to do. And in his mind, he thinks it's cool. I'm part of the SWAT team, and I got this. I'm going, yeah, dude. Just wait till that first time you actually have to do something it's gonna play a toll on you, and then you're gonna have that going on, and then you're gonna go. You got teenagers that are smoking out back on private property, and then you're just gonna freaking snap, and you're not gonna realize, you're not gonna be able to differentiate between both categories of law enforcement. They need to be separated.
Yeah, that's right.
But getting back to this, when I look at this and I see the requirements to be, and I'm sure it's probably more than this. I mean, but that right there scares me.
Yeah.
That you're not really according to this, you're not really looking for dudes that are, top of their class, and certain things. And you're saying that these guys are going to be every single day surveilling the public to find hardened criminals
Yeah.
and to find, yeah.
Well, the thing that I started thinking of, because there's not a lot of information on this, I started thinking of, okay, so if I'm a police officer, say I'm Tommy Ford, I'm in charge of Bayrock, right? And I'm already getting I'm getting the traffic camera videos from all over piped in to my station. Now, you can't tell. I mean, anybody can watch traffic cameras, right? We could go on and we could find Bay County traffic cameras, watch them. You can't tell who those people are. So then you think, let's hire a third-party vendor so that we not only can watch traffic, but we can see who these people are and we can identify them. So now you have so now it's not just a license, it's not just a video. Now you have the license plate, or vice versa. You have the license plate readers. Now you capture live video. They don't like to tell you that it's live video, and they can play live video from privately owned businesses.
That scares me.
Yeah. So you'll see, like,
Well, because data is sold and
Yes.
traded every day.
Yeah. So you could see, like, on Deflock on my Facebook page, you can see they're showing on the news Bayrock. And in one of them, they're very quick with the video. Like, it looks like they don't want you to know that there's video. On the other one, it's obvious that it's somewhere downtown Panama City during spring break where there's people, and it's coming from one of the hotels, and it's not a government. I don't believe, maybe it is. It better not be a government camera, because they say those are picture only. This one is live. So they're watching people walk into the beach.
Well, so have you done the math? So I think there's 3 camera systems. I said this in the last episode, and I do need to put a disclaimer out there. I don't know for sure. It's not I can look it up. But I think you have 3. You have FHP has their own. Bayrock has their own, and then you have the traffic engineering department. Because right now, remember we said the technology that's used on this, you're never going to know what its actual capabilities are, because the last time that the government actually told you what the capabilities of an electronics, you're never going to know.
And we should know.
But here's the thing about it. If by chance, and just by the tag reader itself, I mean, again, this goes into that, if being able to put a citizen in a place where they never were at a time that they had never been,
Yeah.
is very, very possible with the new technology, especially with AI. And it's very, very easy to set citizens up for this. I mean, we watch movies about it all the time, and people are like, "Oh, please, Ron." Like, listen,
we're in the
I get
future.
it.
We're in the future right now.
It sounds crazy, and I know that it sounds insane, but if you are trusting the government that they wouldn't do that, you're also saying that you trust the government do you really believe that Joe Biden was sane? And do you believe that that was 100% Joe Biden at all of those places?
Who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust Sheriff Tommy Ford? Are you going to trust Deputy Chief Infinger? Are you going to trust George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, any of the founding fathers who warned against this kind of tyranny? It is tyrannical when this new contract with not new contract, but the re-signed contract in Lynn Haven uses for Flock. I can't believe former Chief Ramey took, with his 30 years of not knowing if he's going to come home every night, right? I can't believe he was cowardly. I can't believe how cowardly he was that he didn't bring this to the people to look at. That is so cowardly. Either that, or it's being secretive. because he entered the contract, he entered the contract with Bay County Sheriff's Department, not the city, not the
Whoa.
police
So
department.
so the city of Lynn Haven, like the commission didn't vote on this?
No.
Wait,
This is
this
the one he
was
snuck through.
when was that? What year?
That's this year. He
He did-
snuck it through in 2023. See, remember, this is okay. When Chief Ramey got fired or resigned, I'm going to say he got fired. They let him resign so he could have his pension. Okay. That's the truth of it. That's the way things work. He should have been fired because he entered into a contract that was more than $30,000. If it's more than $30,000, the commissioners have to know about it. And he entered into this contract with Flock in 2023 without telling anybody. Now, when they fired him, they started looking. I don't know if it was CJ. I don't know who the hero is, but whoever found this contract and said that we have to redo it is a hero. That person, they're talking about giving gold medals to people who are civic minded. Whoever found this needs to be put on a pedestal. And I want to find out who it is. I think it might have been CJ. If it is, great for her, because this turned me on to something to where I am today. He entered into this contract with Flock and Fusus without telling anybody. And when whoever it was reviewing all of this just recently, this was September, on the October 14th City Commission meeting, they said, this is a good story.
Yeah.
We need to redo this contract because it was done incorrectly. Cowardly, I'm using that word. A man who is in law enforcement for 30 years made an arbitrary decision. What did the founders call that? It wasn't anywho. They said basically he made a decision that that gratified his vain ambitions and his pride instead of taking it to people. So what that means is the First Amendment was not honored. The people did not have an opportunity to voice an opinion about this. He took that away.
According to local news, reporting Lynn Haven's police chief said that 5 Flock cameras were installed on Highway 77 and other roads in Lynn Haven several years ago.
Yep. That's
meaning
true.
the system had been placed for some time before 2025. At a December 2025 Lynn Haven City Commission meeting, officials formalized
the 2023 contract.
For Flock cameras had already been installed, but they did not install new cameras at the
Who cares? We have 5.
Yeah,
That's plenty.
I got you. So local, several years ago is what was used. So
it was September 18th of 2023. Sheriff Ramey entered into this contract with nobody knowing. He got busted because CJ or whoever it was found this contract and is like, man, this is outside the scope of the $30,000 that was spent, because it was $5,700 a month was broken down. Oh, it needs to be said while you're looking that up, because I haven't mentioned any of this. This is all done without consent. This is done without probable cause. This is done without a warrant.
So you're talking about, we're talking about Flock being installed, right? So this right here says a police chief is generally within their authority to deploy technology if it falls under an existing budget line item, an existing city-approved contract, an emergency or pilot program explicitly allowed by the city policy, a prior commission delegation of authority. No, it wouldn't be wrong for, even if the commission were fully briefed at the time, because it falls under Florida state statute notes. So I'll get there in a second. So, this is not automatically misconduct, not automatically illegal, and it's not proof of corruption, but it can be a violation of city procurement policy,
Which it is.
a breakdown in oversight,
Which it is.
a failure of transparency,
Which it is.
a risk of exposure for the city. Why cities still ratify after the fact? Cities do this when the tech was already in use, it was providing value, Removing it would disrupt public safety. The legal fix is cleaner than ripping it out. Ratification, endorsement of the process. Ratification, cleaning up the paper trail.
So it was over.
So-
It was way over the policy amount. So he broke policy. I'm not saying he broke the law.
So this actually, so it's sunshine law. Official actions must be taken in public meetings. So this was an official action that wasn't. So I don't understand. This is where I'm kind of hazy on this, because sunshine law, one of the things everybody always talks about sunshine law with, it has to do with government talking back and forth. Well, actually, it's much more than that. It's way more broader than that. It comes into, so for those of you who don't know, Florida State Statute 286.011, which is the sunshine law, says all meetings of city board commission which official acts are taken must be open to the public with reasonable notice. I feel like if you're going to install cameras,
if you're going to be watching everything everybody does without their consent.
Chief, this is, official acts taken outside of such meetings are not binding.
This alone, he should have been fired for. I don't know.
Violations can result in fines. So public procurement laws, Florida State Statute 287.001 sets for policy public procurement. Procurement of goods and services must follow competitive solicitation process like bids or proposals. So so basically what we had read before this, though, it falls on, I know I'm getting in the weeds on this.
No, it's okay. I like this. I love this stuff.
So basically, though, what we're saying, if we're going to have the conversation about this, I want to know what line item for the budget allowed him to go and have this installed.
That was...
do you know what it is?
I do. This was a very interesting thing because I used to be part of the CRA.
Oh, yeah?
And I meet with Ben. I have a lot of respect for Ben Janke. I think he's great. I think that. I don't know him, but just when I've been working with him, I think he does a good job.
Just putting it right there. You're good.
The way that this was rolled out and this is one thing I respect about Judy Tinder, is in 2001 when this was rolled out, I think it was June. I've got the actual video on Deflock page, Deflock Lynn Haven Facebook page. She said, Ben is the one who said, hey, we've come through this CRA. We don't feel like it's good or bad. We're not going to make a judgment on this. So then Chief Ramey got up and said, what this is. So he ran this through CRA. So it doesn't show up. The word flock doesn't even show up except for one place when you go into this agenda items, the historical stuff.
Well, let's talk about the other issue with this real quick, because this one gets a little interesting. So with that, the legislature's intent of 287.001 is to ensure a fair and open competition. What's competition with Flock?
Tyler.
Yeah.
They used to use Tyler.
So we didn't... This is really weird. I just feel like this is something that should have came before the commission to vote on.
It definitely should have come before the commission.
So, and I hate to say
so
it.
There's a cowardly tyrant. A cowardly tyrant did this without any...
So
to gratify his own
thing.
vain ambition.
Does he have the power to do this without the city manager?
That's a great question. I wonder that myself.
I'm kind of curious if he did this without Vicky knowing.
Oh, I don't know that, and I've wondered that.
And this is one of those things, man. We cut up public figures all the time as being like these horrible people, right? Call them cowards.
He might have just made a decision. He may not be a coward, but I see it that way.
But then I'm also, trust but verify type person, and I just when I look at things like this, I'm kind of like, why? What were you doing?
Why didn't he just bring it towards the commission?
And this is one of those things where I think, before I start cutting him up or even cutting up the city manager or cutting up, and I'm sorry, I'm going to cut up the commission on this. If you were a commissioner back in 2023 and you didn't know about this, I'm kind of wondering what the hell you were doing. Now, we could sit here all day long and we can sit here and we can say...
They didn't know about it.
Well, they didn't know about it.
We
could say that. How do you not know about it? Because we know about it and we're citizens. You knew about it. You know about it.
Well, it became disclosed in October of this year.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why.
So
was
all
one
this
of the
was done under the rug.
it was 100% done under.
But Bayrock isn't anything new. We've known about Bayrock for a long time.
Right. This contract.
This contract specifically, we didn't know about.
That's why I say whoever, if that's CJ, whoever it is in that office, I'd love to just talk to him and take him out and talk to him a bit about this, because they're going through every
Yeah.
single contract now
So this
and seeing if they're all legit.
So this is the public records law. So contracts must be available under Chapter 119 of Florida State statutes.
And I'm going to say this.
All public records, including contracts, procurement documents, and communications about them, must be available for public inspection unless a specific exemption applies. This means that the contract itself, the procurement documents, and related communications should be publicly accessible after execution, not hidden.
Do you see how
So
interesting
this was after the
is?
execution. You're saying that, so in October of the
September 18th of 2023, former Chief Ramey, and let me say something about Chief Ramey. I don't know him. He
Yeah.
might be the nicest guy in the world, and I've done cowardly things. And I think that this was cowardly. And if it wasn't, I'm not saying he is a coward. I'm just, because, 30 years in law enforcement, come on. I feel like that's honorable. But this was wrong on many, many fronts.
Okay, so this right here, it says, what this means in practical terms is that the police chief arranged for flock cameras without A, the city commission vote or authorization, B, a proper procurement process as required by city policy ordinance, C, or public meeting where the contract was considered.
So we had that. We should have been having the conversation that Laura Leslie and I, when we got up and said what flock really is, we should have had that conversation with the city commission in September of 2023. That's when all of this should have been.
So you are right, especially with the Deflock, and I know part of the reason why you wanted to come on is because you want a lot of people at the meeting to talk about this. So this right here says, the legal nuances, the Sunshine Law doesn't automatically make the actions taken outside of the meeting void, but it allows citizens to challenge those actions in court. And that can be found online, Sunshine, the 2025 Florida Statutes 286.011.
So that's why
procurement-related discussions may be exempt from Sunshine Law while bids or negotiations are underway, but the final awarding decision generally must be made publicly.
And it was just made
public.
For over 2 years.
Wow.
And with all of that information, there's no public oversight and there's zero internal audits. So that's why I'm saying it's the Wild West of information. It doesn't make me feel good. And I sure hope it doesn't make the citizens in Lynn Haven feel good about this, because if it's not complete lies.
So they already entered into the contract.
Well, okay. They re-voted. Okay. When I say I blindsided the commissioners, I'm going to say this boldly. I don't think any of them had any idea what this flock contract was. I got a phone call. I don't know if I've already said this. I might have just said it to you before the show. I got a phone call the day after, so it would have been December. Okay, let me start at the beginning. December 6th, I posted just a very innocent, all these flock cameras to Lynn Haven neighbors. Started getting comments on it. 5,000 views. So the word is spreading. Now, December 6th.
I just want to I want you to know I did just run this right here.
Yeah.
And so this says, what is not in public record is there was no publicly cited agenda item approving flock for pre-installation. There was no record of a commission voted authorizing the contract beforehand, and there was no meeting minutes showing public debate or approval of prior execution.
Yep.
So
there was approval. There was approval for the cameras, but not for this fusus.
I don't know. This is saying that there was no meeting minutes showing public debate or approval for prior to the execution.
Okay, there is from 2021. Judy Tinder asks Ben Janke, so why are we using CRA money instead of why isn't the sheriff or the not the sheriff, of course, the police department? Why isn't the police department paying for it? So she, I like Judy. Judy is her instincts are correct on how she feels about Flock.
Here it is.
She just doesn't know. She doesn't know the full picture. That's why I said these commissioners were voting on things that they have no idea what it was.
There is no publicly documented record showing that Flock was brought before the Lynn Haven Commission meeting in 2021 by Judy Tinder. Here's the Flock cameras. Yeah, man.
No, okay, no public available agenda. Oh, you know why? It might have happened.
Yeah, so
it might have happened in a CRA meeting instead of this.
I don't know. I know this
Hold
just did a complete and total search from 2020 to 2021 Lynn Haven agendas and minutes. It might have been in a CRA meeting. This is going through all the records for meeting minutes from the city of Lynn Haven. So like any of their commission meetings. So I only have this right now. It's only programmed to go through the city of Lynn Haven meeting minutes. I have this particular chat designed for that for the city of Lynn Haven. I have one for all of them. City of Panama City, City of Panama City Beach, City of Lynn Haven.
This was a CRA. Okay,
it was
a CRA meeting.
It was a CRA meeting.
That's how they snuck it in there.
Okay. So this was talked about in a CRA meeting. This was never talked about in a
CRA meeting
commission
before
meeting.
They went right from the CRA meeting to the.
But if Judy saw that it was such a big issue, then why didn't she bring it up in a freaking commission meeting?
That's what I'm saying. It's like her instincts.
Maybe she just didn't think much of it, and she's a very you say that's 2021.
2020.
Well, people change. I think back then she probably trusted our police chief.
There was that situation that I brought up in the commission meeting on December 9th, where the commission was listening to a couple who was being followed by a camera. There was an empty lot next to their house. That's how I brought this up. And the commissioners are freaked out because it's like there's an empty lot. This young couple has 2 kids. The property owner they finally spoke up, but they're getting called pedos. They're getting called, creeps and all this. But the reality is, if you're freaked out about one little camera, why aren't you concerned about a private camera? Why aren't you concerned about government owned? And Judy Tinder is. And why does the commission, once they get this information from me and from Laura Leslie, why do they pass this thing? Why do they say yes? 4 of them, Judy said no. 4 of them said, well, we're going to go ahead and do this. The mayor at the time of this, the creepy camera, he was ready to send people over there and confront the landowner, lawyer over there, asking him why they're doing this.
So I just wanted to know this right here, just because I was curious. I asked if, the cameras can zoom. So it says Flock cameras cannot move or zoom, but Bayrock, yes, it can control other cameras that move and zoom, but not Flock.
So there's the Flock. There's the ones the government use that cannot move.
Flock safety cameras, license plate readers. Flock cameras are fixed position, no pan, no tilt, no zoom, no remote control.
Right, exactly right. So they do have the Flock. I think it's the Condor or Falcon. I don't remember which. That businesses use. This is the real concern that I have. Is they're transitioning. This is pretty creepy. You go to the Flock camera patent. I have it on the Deflock, Lynn Haven. If you go there, it'll tell you what's a patent for, to protect what you want to do now and in the future. So what they can do with these surveillance cameras, not the government ones yet, but they're going to be able to go from your car, you getting out, to facial recognition, to following you. When it recognizes your face, they say, oh, with the gangs, it's going to be able to see your gang affiliations. So if it can see your gang affiliations, it's going to see your familial affiliations as well, right? So I don't trust it. These cameras are so good. Oh, I have something funny to tell you about this too. These cameras are so good. They're going to tell the brand of clothes that you wear, not just with artificial intelligence, your height, your weight, your race, your gender. It's going to tell what color your clothes are and your the brand of clothes that you're wearing. It's that good. So we are not there now, but we're getting there. We're gonna go there, and that's why I want to stand up. I want everyone to stand up and just don't accept this. And it has audio. They say, oh, it's like, you should probably maybe saw this in the military. I don't know, but there's that technology where if there's a gunshot, the technology can pinpoint or show you where the sound came from, echo. And so that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but I'm going to tell you what, this is not tinfoil hat stuff. The tinfoil hat wearers are law enforcement who have let this thing go. They're the ones who are towards the Fourth Amendment. They're the tinfoil hat people, not the public who doesn't want this.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know, so Bayrock and Flock do not violate the Fourth Amendment as currently interpreted by courts, but there are limits and misuse can create constitutional problems. The Fourth Amendment baseline, the Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures when a person has a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yep. Carpenter case.
Two key principles control this issue: no reasonable expectations of privacy in public, and observation search.
Well, let's talk about that. There's a case from 2018. Did you know that before 2018, law enforcement could get your location data from your phone without a warrant? They could follow you without a warrant.
And
it wasn't until 2018, the Carpenter case, that was protected under the Fourth Amendment. Yeah. Now we're way ahead of that.
Yeah.
Now we have, I think it's Schultz versus the city of Norfolk, Virginia. This is going to the Supreme Court. Who knows when? But this is the biggest. This is the one that might make it. I think there's one out of Illinois too. But this, I don't need the Supreme Court. I can read the Fourth Amendment, and then I can read what Flock is, and it completely shreds the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, that I don't understand how this is, and so
because where we are right now, technology is so far ahead of us, has outpaced us. Especially, we could have been talking about this since 2023 if Ramey didn't hide it. Right, this could have been out in the open. And we could have been mitigating this kind of thing for the last 2 years.
So this says, here are the real defensible cons of Bayrock and Flock, separate from the fear-mongering. These are issues that civil liberty folks, city attorneys, and even some cops actually worry about.
What do you do if you're a cop and you don't like Bayrock and you have to continue to go with it? I'd be interested. I might make a public records request to say, hey, if a police officer doesn't feel right ethically about using all these cameras, what can you do?
So I'm going to go through 10. So you have political weaponization risk. You have weak oversight structures. You have chilling effect on lawful behavior. You have disproportionate impact. You have private company data risk.
Yep, and that's happening.
You
that
have
happened a few
lack
days
of
ago.
public transparency. Mission creep, access abuse, and data retention, and long-term tracking. So we'll start with long-term tracking. We call this like a mosaic problem.
Yeah, what is long-term?
So individually, seeing a car once is fine.
Okay.
Collectively over time, though, seeing when a vehicle goes, where it goes every day, every week, every month, starts revealing a pattern of life.
30 days for Flock.
Courts are increasingly uneasy with work locations, religious attendance, medical visits, political activity, personal relationships. This is where the Fourth Amendment challenges could grow.
They are growing. Yeah, they're growing.
So the second point to this was data retention. So most systems start with 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, then quietly expand to 6 months, 1 year, case-based retention, and indefinite.
Let me
if
talk
useful.
about that real quick. Or do you want to keep doing that, or do you want to comment while we go?
We can comment as we go. It's
Okay,
fine.
so this data retention is 30 days, right? It's a 30-day data retention, and then you drop off. Another one starts. So you're continually monitored. Continually monitored. I want to make that point. But, wait, what did it say above that? Above the 30 days there?
The 30 days
'Cause
was,
it
this is
triggered
the, most systems start with 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Then they quietly expand due to data retention, right? And you get into 6 months, 1 year, and then you start getting into case-based retention. And then you get into indefinite if it's useful.
Yeah.
And that's when you start tracking individuals.
Yeah.
You're tracking everything that they do. Just because you could, Patriot Act.
Yeah.
I mean, you can start getting into the weeds on you can suspect somebody of being, that's the reason why, like, one of the things I'm like completely against is, red flag laws.
Yeah.
And this right here would help build a case against somebody for a red flag law, because then you could sit there and you could say,
I'm not familiar with that. What do you mean red flag law?
so red flag laws are, you've never heard of the no-knock warrants?
Yes.
Okay, so it's...
And they get to the wrong house, and they killed the wrong person.
Well, that's a thing, but also you can be targeted by your neighbor, somebody you work with, or anything like that, to be like, hey, I know this guy owns guns. He's like, we saw it during the election, where it's like, this guy, he's big on Trump. He owns guns. He's an ex-veteran. He drinks. He's crazy. And then next thing you know, they get a no-knock warrant because the guy just cusses out his neighbor for not moving his trash can out from in front of his driveway.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, 3 a.m. in the morning, officers are kicking down a door and arresting him, taking him to jail. And it's a no-knock warrant, and it was a red flag law. Actually, just before...
That's crazy. Well, the one thing I was going to say that is funny about flock cameras is they're racist.
What?
Yeah, they're racist. They have a very difficult time.
Oh, well, ooh, hold on. Bayrock and Flock used for red flags in a nutshell. Installed before public approval, transparency problem. After the fact, ratification, paperwork cleanup prior to consent, long-term data retention, access abuse to risk. The red flags aren't the cameras. It's installation data retention for abuse without transparency oversight.
We don't know that
10
it's
second
30
sound.
days. Well, they say it's
Single
30 days, but we
graphic.
don't know.
If you want, well, what I'm saying is, though, is that it basically started saying, dang, dude, AI is getting crazy. It linked them two together. I'm just like,
Yeah, that's cool.
I was like, hey, just give me the basics of red flag laws. And it's like, this is how Bayrock and
that's
Flock
great.
can be used for red flag. I was like, oh, no. That's not what I was. Okay. Well,
So the
Dang, that's
the
crazy.
racist cameras.
yeah.
I'm not saying this is funny because racism's not funny.
No.
But this is just something that I read was that what two races do you think Flock has the most trouble identifying differences in?
God.
You know what another point that police try to make is, oh, these cameras don't move, they're just stationary. What if there was 100 gang members posted up on different areas of Bay County, and all they did is take a picture of you every time you pass by? Wouldn't that make you feel a little uneasy? Okay, so that's what it is. I don't know why they say, oh, this is just stationary. I know why they have to say that.
Well, no,
you
they're
can't-
not. So we found out flocks are stationary, no tilt, none of that. But Bayrock does have the ability to zoom and move.
Right,
and
but
tilt.
they can't. They have to say that it's stationary because you have to get a warrant for GPS. You can't just put a GPS tracker on someone. The law can't. They have to get a warrant for that. Why not make it so that you just have to put a warrant number or ID into Flock?
That's a
You
good
know, it's
question.
like, come on. I don't want Flock, but then at least
Yeah.
it's being done the right way. Right now, it's like I said, Flock is the Wild West.
So we have access abuse, the human factor. This is one of the biggest real risks. Examples seen nationwide: officers looking up ex-spouses,
Yep,
dating partners being tracked,
that's another.
journalist activities or rivals being monitored, curiosity searches with no case attached. Even with logs, abuse usually gets caught after the damage is done. Technology doesn't violate rights, people do. Well,
Ding, ding, ding.
so
Right.
this is one of those times where I got to say that the Bay Inquirer, he's kind of right on this. I don't think that I 100% believe that law enforcement, local officials that have ties with law enforcement, they got better things to do with their time than to try to figure out, what the guy from the newspaper is going to be writing, or what the podcaster
Yeah.
is, who he's out talking to, or who the crazy journalist is out talking to. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that they have better things to do with their time. But where he's right is it's not the, well, I think that that's stupid. It's the ability is there. They have the
Yeah.
ability to. And that's what's scary about it,
I-
because you don't want somebody to have the ability to do it. Or
wanna
at least
know it's
openly
Bayrock.
like this, and to use taxpayers' dollars to do it.
I want to know if Bayrock is audited. I haven't even started to tackle.
I can find out right
I
now.
haven't even started to tackle Bayrock. I've posted a couple of things about it. The deeper I got into Flock, the more I hit on Bayrock and didn't like it. To see if
Publicly available information about whether Bayrock, which is Bay Real-Time Operations Center,
it's Bay
Real-Time Operations Center,
Yeah, it's rarely.
Generally audit context. Bay County, like all Florida counties, is subject to periodic financial and operational audits by Florida Auditor General as part of the state law. Counties and their agencies must submit annual audits that are publicly filed. Now, this is under the Florida Auditor General, right?
Yeah.
So audited entities are responsible for, which I'll put it up on the screen, that way people can see. So there is a fiscal year for 2023 to 2024, 2022 to 2023, 2021 to 2022, 2020, 21, 2019,
Okay.
2020. You can get that from here. I'll send that to you. But
Yeah.
yes. So,
Please
but hold
do.
on, let's get back to this to see. However,
Rights occasionally considered. That's
being audited
Bayrock.
in general as part of county financials, having a specific audit just of Bayrock's operations or data practices. So it's important to separate those. Countywide audits. Bay County as an entity is audited by the Florida Auditor General and likely receives annual audits of financials and intended control, compliance, etc. But that audit typically covers broad county financial operations, not one specific program in detail, unless red flags trigger a special review. This does not mean that Bayrock itself has been singled out and had its own dedicated audit. Program-specific audits. Bayrock has been the subject of dedicated audit, operation compliance, and privacy. An independent or third-party audit, Bayrock's data practices, access logs, retention policies, or constitutional compliance has been published.
Oh, cool. I'd love to
Local
read that.
news or official government announcements reference to Bayrock specifically audit. Search results.
I don't know how specific it is.
What is mentioned, one community article noted that the Bayrock system has firm audit capabilities to ensure the system is operated with guidelines. That's under this right here. This is PCB Life. When was this published? This was in
March of
Hold on, I'll tell you. March 28th, 2022.
That's good. That's good to know. I appreciate that because they only
So-
started in 2021. So
Says the Bay Real-Time Operations Center of Bayrock went operational on November 1st, 2022. Bayrock is a collaborative effort by the Bay County Sheriff's Office, the Panama City Police Department, the Panama City Beach Police Department, the Lynn Haven Police Department, the Springfield Police Department, the Parker Police Department, and Bay District Schools Police Department. Yeah. So what this is
we don't
basically
want that
saying
either.
is, in summary, is that Bay County as a government entity is audited under state law, and I showed you the fiscal year. The problem with that is that there's no evidence that Bayrock itself has undergone a standalone independent audit of operational or privacy and has been publicly reported. The system is said to have internal audited logging capabilities for tracking user interactions. That's a big one. Again, that was in this article.
March 2020.
Yeah. Or March 28th, 2022. Yeah, so it hasn't had a standalone audit, but it has the capabilities of an internal audit to be done. And
I'd love to see that.
I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with asking for that. I think the right question in a the right question for a public records request is what users have interacted with it. You want a list of people that interact with it.
Who's been in there? I want who's
Yeah.
been in there. I want what their key search words were.
The thing about it is I think they can say that it's a safety concern if they were to give you the individuals or the personnel that have had interactions with it, because then they can be tied to other things. But the thing about it is they need to be squeaky clean and so anyway, so I don't think it's wrong for contacting the Bay County Sheriff's Office and saying, "Hey, I want to put in a public records request for all personnel that's interacted with Bayrock in your system since 2021."
Yeah. Well, we found out also in that Lynn Haven. That's not my battle right now. I'm focusing on.
Well, I'm
Lynn
just saying
Haven,
when
yeah.
it comes time, just so you have a list, how big. I mean, here's the other thing about that.
Every police officer has access to Flock, is what we learned in the city of Lynn, and dispatchers.
I don't know if I believe that, though.
That's what Deputy Chief Infinger said.
Hold on. Well, we found out that citizens have the capability of getting into Flock just by that video, or at least the Flock cameras that were.
Is that via
They were
hacking?
watching trails and all that.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
showed
that's
you that.
creepy.
Yeah, people have access to that.
Well, what happened in that situation was there was a leak. Like something happened where I think 404 is a big one. I can't remember the other guy's name who does these things where he's a techie guy and he's able to go in and find, I don't know if it's the dark web. I know they've seen stuff on the dark web. He was able to access scores of live Flock. And the saddest one was the kid. You see a teenager at a park by himself. Nobody else is there. He's just gets there and he starts swinging. It's a behind the back view. The kid's just minding his own business and he's having a private time of all the things that teenagers could be doing. He's there swinging and there's a camera watching him. It's like, this is way gone. This has gone way too far.
So this says designated local administrators. So for any Flock safety ALPR
Automated
system,
license.
yep, like the ones in Lynn Haven, the customer, in this case the city or the police department, designates one or more administrators. These administrators are responsible for user management and the main people who can log the Flock dashboard, run searches, manage access. This is determined by the city/police when they set up Flock. Who this usually includes is Lynn Haven Police Department personnel, sergeants, and tech admins, designated IT staff, possible select command staff. So authorized end users, yeah. Flock system allows the customers to assign multiple authorized users beyond
It's
the
unlimited.
administrators.
You can have the administrator.
Yeah,
can do
patrol
unlimited.
officers, detectives, investigators, and analysts. Law enforcement access, man. So yeah,
Everybody.
And so, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Like if you wanted to track down what your wife is doing during the day, and you can utilize it for that, you can track down an ex-girlfriend. And here's the thing: nobody's saying that that's what these guys are doing. It's saying that they have the capabilities of doing
The
that.
question is there, and they
Yeah.
don't answer the question. They weren't forthcoming with the information, and they're rejecting all my public record requests for that kind of information, for search words, nothing that's case related. And the retention is what I was going to say. The 30-day retention, with everything integrated as it is, the Bay County, so all of these, this was one of my public records requests was, who does the city of Lynn Haven Police Department allow integration into their system? So you could do a nationwide. They could be added to a nationwide search, right? So anybody, any police department nationwide, maybe by a click of a button, can see what's happening at Lynn Haven. They're integrated. So yes, there's a 30-day retention period, but what happens if somebody in Walton County Sheriff Department downloads some information from the city of Lynn Haven? What now you have to go from learning what the record retention is in Lynn Haven to every police department that we're connected with, and they won't answer me. There are plenty of police officers, one of them's in Lafayette, Colorado, that have right? You go to their police department website, it'll list everybody, every other agency that they're linked with for free. It'll link how many searches there were. It has, some statistical information on there. So curious minds can know how this is working. They want to charge me $600 for this. It's going to take over 40 hours.
This, yeah, man. So
it's crazy.
CJIS, certified engineers and privileged administrators who may access the data.
Block safety. So everybody in Lynn Haven, all of the police officers and dispatch has a Flock account. They can go in there.
Well, what else do you want to talk about? Because I think
I
think we pretty much destroyed.
We beat we beat a dead. We're beating a dead horse right now.
I think we pretty much have.
There's a lot more to say too, but that's the basics. And Chief Aimfinger,
Because
I think did I say some guy that one of them blindsided me?
Yeah. Well, the issue that I'm having with it is that when we were talking previously, it was like you had went to the commission meeting, you brought this up,
yeah,
and then there was a commissioner that did they call you?
Called me the next day.
Called you the next day, and then they were like, "Hey, you blindsided me with this." I just feel like if
he was yelling at me, like, haven't I always been truthful to you? Haven't I always been here for you? I was like, yeah, and I'm just like, okay, what's happening? And
he was just mad that you didn't bring it to him before you got up there and talked about it.
I brought it to him on the night. It just so happened that I was saying, hey, what's this with Flock and this thing, this on the 9th. And because it was only a few days later, it was the 6th December 6th that I posted it to Lynn Haven neighbors. The 9th, I didn't even have a clue that this was on the agenda. I was like, hey, can you tell me about this Flock? What's going on? He's like, oh, is this about the agenda item? And I was like, oh, so I looked real quick because I posted it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, there it is. And I was like, oh, it is on there.
Yeah.
And so it was but yeah, he called me the next day and it was like, why are you he's like, haven't I always been there? I'm always there for you. And I can hear his wife. I bet he has a really nice wife because she's kind of like, okay, just calm down. You can hear her in the background. He continues to yell. And it's like, why are you blindsiding me with this? And I'm like, I'm not the one blindsided. I'm the one blindsided. The whole city is blindsided by
I'm
this.
the citizen that found this out, not from you.
Yeah, and it's Chief. He should have been directing that to Chief Ramey. He misplaced that anger. That should have been at Chief Ramey, not towards me.
Yeah, why would you ostracize a citizen that brings forth information on something that is a big deal
Yeah.
that nobody is aware of and nobody has been aware of. And you're going to get mad at the citizen for uncovering it and it's not even uncovering it. It's just bringing it up.
So now not only do you have a secret deal of surveillance, you have a commissioner intimidating a citizen for speaking up. That makes it look even worse,
Oh.
right? Am I crazy, or does that?
Yeah, but you don't think that he knew about it.
I know. No, I don't know. He's the most proactive commissioner up there. I don't know if I should, but I don't care if. Anyway, but I'm not the one that was misplaced anger.
Well, so I don't believe that the city commission probably knew.
He just found it out.
This was procedures that were not followed the way that they should at the city level for it to go before them, even so much as having a competitor.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just going with but it did say, this is the thing, Andy, this is the reason why I hate, and this is the reason why I watch other shows with guys that are way more knowledgeable on city politics than me and city government. But what I'd really like to do is I'd really like to have a deputy on or a police officer on where they're able to, and they can refute that stuff and be like, well, this is the reason why.
Yeah. I would love to hear that.
Give me good reasons for it, because I don't understand why you would need access to a laptop that has Flock.
Yeah.
Or you could just go and look up somebody's, background,
Show me, don't tell me how effective it is. Show me your analysis. Show me, okay, you had 5,000 hits and you had, 20 arrests. How many of those were because of Flock? Show me the data. We don't have that. That should be part of this. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to hear what a police officer has to say about Flock. You're going to hear how great it is. You're going to hear how it caught a murderer, how it saved a little girl. Oh, we found so many cars, stolen vehicles. So many people had outstanding warrants. We got them. You're going to hear all the good stuff, but let's talk no consent. Let's talk no reasonable suspicion. Talk no warrant. It's like, get a warrant.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it takes to get a warrant. It's got to be I bet it can be pretty quick.